Okay, thanks for being on. Obviously, a great night last night. Really proud of our young men and the way they played, and the effort they played with, and the extra effort they played with on a lot of plays. It was really fun watching that tape early this morning and watching it with them this afternoon. Just the way they competed and the just unbelievable effort that they played with. Really a clean game to have only one penalty and 0 turnovers is fantastic. The discipline our guys played with, the poise, the composure. We talked about it before the game with them that we knew it was going to be we knew they would play hard. We knew they would compete. We had to play with discipline as well. And to have only one penalty and 0 turnovers, that was awesome. I felt like we were, after watching the tape, I felt like we were dominant up front on both lines of scrimmage, and that's where it started. There's a lot to clean up, for as well as we played. We didn't play great, in my opinion. We got to be better in the red zone. We got to be better on third down on offense. Some runs that were nice runs that could have been even bigger runs if we just do a better job of maintaining and finishing blocks. But a lot of really, really good. It was good to get back out on the practice field this evening and get back to work, and great energy in this building today. A lot of excitement over last night, but we've got to continue to build on this and remember what it took last week to go play like we did last night. We've got to have the same kind of preparation this week as well to have an opportunity to win on Saturday. Our players of the game that we decided on as a coaching staff offensively was Jason Brown. Did a nice job, obviously coming in and playing well for us. Our defensive players of the game were Damani Staley and Cam Smith. Damani really played well, and really that whole defense played well. I mean, we decided on Damani and Cam, and it could have been one of about 11, 12, 13 of those guys on defense. They played fantastic. Competitive plays, competitive coverages, some of the plays Cam Smith made, the interception, the third down play over on our sideline was a 50-50 ball. That was awesome to see. And then Damani Staley as well. I mean, just did a nice job, unbelievable stop on that fourth down play when they went for it. And really proud of him and just the season that he's having. Special teams-wise, Nick Barrett, he's doing a great job on our field goal protection team for us. Mo Kaba, doing a great job on some different units, and you watch us cover kicks. It's fun watching us cover kicks and watching Mo lead the charge down there with the speed and the effort that he's playing with. And then Parker White as well coming in. I mean, he's automatic. He's clutch, and I don't know if there's a better kicker in the country. And it is a complete joke that he is not a semifinalist for the Lou Groza Award. I mean, that is a travesty. I don't know who is on the selection committee for the Groza Award. I don't know who they are. I don't know what their backgrounds are, but they clearly don't know much, and they don't watch much college football to not have Parker White as a semifinalist on that thing. For what he's done for the University of South Carolina, the amount of game-winning kicks that he's made in his career. I think last night he's now the second leading scorer all time at this university. And then to come in there last night and kick field goals, I mean, I don't mean to be so hard on him, but it is comical and laughable for him not to be a semifinalist for that award. So it's a joke. Offensive scout team player of the week was Will Rogers and Omega Blake. Omega came in and did a nice job of simulating Emory Jones and really did a good job and showed his ability back as well. Defensive scout team was Bam Scott, and then our special team scout team player was Isaiah Norris. So that's our award winners. A lot to clean up. It was a good team meeting today, talking about last night and the good and the bad. And we've got to continue to get better as a football team and continue to progress. And got another big challenge this week. So glad to answer any questions. And before, I mean, I'm sure you'll ask about the quarterback situation. I mean, I haven't even talked to the quarterbacks. I mean, we had practice today. We've been in meetings all day. Obviously, John was our player of the week or player of the game. So that kind of speaks for itself. But as far as sitting down with any quarterbacks and all that stuff, it is what it is. But we don't need. I'm not going to be answering a ton of questions on the quarterback depth chart and all that. Zeb practiced tonight. Health-wise, we're good. No significant injuries from last night. Typical bumps and bruises and some guys that are banged up, but nobody new that we anticipate not being able to play this weekend coming out of last night. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions. Sorry, forgot about the injuries.
How's it going, Shane? It's Dave. Just looking
Hey, Dave.
at the replay from last night, with the offensive line, it seemed like they weren't running so much zone, but they were running more gap scheme, more man-to-man, and putting a lot more power and counter in there. One, was I reading that right? And two, was that a point of emphasis during the bye week?
You would be correct in saying that. We ran a little bit more power last night, and that was primarily just with Trey Jones in the game at fullback. I think we ran the same play about 6 times throughout the game. 2 of those fourth downs, or one of those fourth downs was that play, and then down there on the goal line, same scheme that Juju scored on. So that was us running the power for sure. And I don't know if it was anything more from a gap scheme standpoint other than that. We've been running, the counter play. We ran that with a lot of success last night. A lot of teams, other teams have had some success running the counter type scheme against Florida, and we did as well. And then we still ran some zone. We ran a little bit of an outside zone last night. I think I don't have it in front of me. I'm pretty sure Zaquandre's first long run down the sideline, that was an outside zone scheme. We ran some inside zone and pop. So we kind of had a combination of everything, which is what we had been doing. We want to be multiple in the run game from a run game schematic standpoint and mix it up, but also do what we do well. And our players like running gap schemes. We run gap schemes well, but it was good to see us be able to just run basic inside and outside zone last night and be able to move people along the line of scrimmage and the backs to be able to make the plays they did.
Shane, it's Ben. I think Dan said after the game that they had like 20 or 30 guys who were battling the flu. Not as far as a competitive standpoint, but like as far as just guys being sick or anything like that. Is that something you guys have to like deal with before game, or is there any kind of logistics behind that you guys have to deal with on your end when you're playing a team that might be dealing with something like that?
That we would in regards to Florida situation last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, not really. We, once you catch wind or maybe hear that they have some guys out, we certainly, pay attention to who's out there. I mean, you guys ought to watch, like, before games, most teams, I mean, they're going to have an army of analysts and graduate assistants on their sideline watching the other team during pregame warm-ups with, clipboards and charts in their hands, just checking off who's lined up where and who's out there. And, we keep an eye on who's out there and warming up. We knew they had some guys injury-wise that were questionable last night, so we watched for it during pregame warm-ups. You looked at Florida last night. I think they had about 9 guys there on their sideline just charting everything we did during pregame warm-ups, and that's pretty universal. Most teams do that. But to answer your question, Ben, it would be more just looking in pregame warm-ups to see who's out there. With them, obviously it was the other quarterback. It was one of their defensive linemen. It was a receiver that was questionable for them. So it's watching to see who's down there. If another team has a illness that you catch wind of, then you certainly pay attention to see who's at the game, who's not at the game, and then once the game starts, it kind of takes care of itself. You figure out who they're playing with, who they're not playing with, and I don't know who was out for them last night because of the sickness, but I know this. I mean, all the starters that we anticipated playing against were all out there last night. So I don't know who it was. I don't want to speak for Dan and his team. They clearly had some, but their top guys were out there last night from what I saw.
Shane, this is Colin. I guess you mentioned last night you obviously had a bunch of text messages, calls from recruits. How can you parlay this win, and maybe even if you get one win over the next 3 games, how can you parlay that into some recruiting momentum as you get into this offseason and the early signing period?
Yeah, I think we had a lot of momentum and energy over the 8 or 9 months leading into the season, and then once you get into the season, I think recruits are able to see the way our team plays and the way they compete and the way they care about each other and play for each other. They're able to see an atmosphere like we had in Williams-Brice Stadium last night. They're able to, see that we are making progress. I understand every week is different, and you constantly got to continue to get better. And it didn't look pretty 2 weeks ago out in Texas, and it looked really good last night. And I think, recruits, they see the environment, they see the way that we played. We're able to beat a team like Florida who lost to Alabama by 2 points, who basically had Georgia, before the turnovers last week, 3-0 going into halftime, that won the SEC East last season. And we were able to beat them like we did last night. It certainly opened some eyes about where we are right now, but more importantly, where we're going.
Hey, Shane, this is Ben Brenner. I wanted to ask, when you kind of went over the film on Jason, what did he kind of show you last night that you maybe hadn't seen in practice kind of earlier in the year and through the off season?
Probably just his understanding of the offense, to be honest with you, and just simple things like we had, I think it was a bad snap or a mishandled snap on a play last night where it was designed to be a run to the running back off the left side, and we had a bad snap, and Jason had enough, savvy about himself to not panic, but to just grab the ball, get his wits about him, if you will, and then just run the ball himself where the run was designed to go, and he did it for a first down, which was really cool. Some things that, just mechanics at the line of scrimmage, being able to, a lot of our runs last night where we were runs where we got lined up and we were running it to a certain defender or a certain look or away from a certain coverage or whatever it may be, and being able to get us into the right plays. Some of the things he did protection-wise at the line of scrimmage. So that's probably the biggest thing. And not that he was bad in August with it earlier in the season, but I think it's more been just the overall mechanics and the confidence of being able to do that and knowing not just the what but the why he's doing it.
Shane, Dave again. Stats are stats, but at least looking at the statistics, Missouri's got one of the worst rushing defenses in the country. How much confidence does that give you guys going in, especially when you had 2 guys break 100 rushing yards last night?
Yeah, I would say it's more. The confidence our guys have off of the way they played last night. This is SEC football, and every team you play is going to have good players. I haven't spent a ton of time. I watched Missouri's game yesterday in the hotel room before our game, and but other than that, I really haven't seen a whole lot of them other than just crossover tape. We saw them obviously getting ready to play Kentucky because they played Kentucky before us. I saw them on tape getting ready before Texas A&M, or not Texas A&M. Who would it have been? I guess it would have been Texas A&M before we played A&M. They had played them, so I've seen them on tape a little bit, but it was more getting ready for the other opponent. But certainly the Tennessee game I know was a game for them where the game got out of hand a little bit from a rushing game standpoint, and certainly the stats got ratcheted up in that game for sure. But I believe we're very confident, but it's more because of the way that we performed last night, and even more important than that, Dave, is just the way that we've practiced and the confidence that our guys had because of the way we've practiced and competed. I think we were confident. It may not have always looked like it, but I felt like we were confident before last night, but then certainly the way we played last night even grew that confidence, if you will.
Hey,
Dennis,
Shane.
Hey, Shane, it's Corey. I'm curious, kind of take us, give us a little insight. What is it like to just kind of listen to Clayton call a game defensively? And, have there been any moments of you guys just kind of consulting with one another on what to do, or has it just really just been his baby from day one?
It's certainly his baby. I mean, I'm the head coach, so I try not to micromanage, but I'm involved with the offense, I'm involved with the defense, and I'm involved with the special teams. And I hired good coaches, and I believe in letting them coach. But then obviously I'm the head coach, and I got to oversee everything and ultimately be in charge of everything. But he's fantastic. He really is. And he and I spent a lot of time, or myself and all the coordinators. Early in the week, or not so much early, but Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we always sit down. Myself with Pete, and then myself and Clayton and Sap, we sit down and we talk about how we see this game going, what our plan is, what we're thinking, why. So the decisions that Clayton's making on Saturday nights during games, we've discussed during the week, and I understand what we're doing, and I understand why we're doing it. And I'll chime in from time to time on the headphones on offense and defense and special teams, but I know why we're calling the stuff that we are, and I think he does a great job of just listening to him on the headphones. He and his entire staff, they just do a really good job of just being one step ahead. And Clayton spends a lot of time with just the preparation during the week, and just recognizing, understanding what teams like, and then more importantly, what they like to do out of specific formations, where he sees a formation and has a really good idea because of his study and prep during the week of what potentially could be coming, and trying to stay one step ahead of the opponent. And he and his staff, they're very poised and collected on the headphones during games, and they're doing a great job of putting their players in position to make plays.
Hey, Shane, it's Ben again. Had a follow-up from Dave's first question. How much duo do you guys run in sort of a practical way? How different is that from inside zone in terms of what you guys try to do?
Getting technical on me, Ben. We run quite a bit of, what you're referring to as a duo. We ran it last night, and we ran inside zone last night. One of the runs, one of the runs late in the game, going down towards the end zone where our locker room is, around the 25-yard line, somewhere in there. I think Z White popped a run out of there, kind of over the left side. That was a duo scheme, and it's very similar to inside zone. This is kind of how the running back reads it is a little bit different, and as far as the offensive lineman, it's basically to me it's kind of a double teams. It's blocked very similar to like the power play. You're just not pulling a lineman, but they're very, very similar, inside zone, duo, all that. And at the end of the day, it's about winning your one-on-one battle and moving people. But we do it quite a bit, to answer your question.
Hey, Shane, this is Hale. Going back to the defense, I was just curious, just what allowed the secondary, more specifically, to kind of bounce back from some of those big plays that Florida was able to hit kind of early on, and I guess prevent that from being a reoccurring theme. I think it was certainly the pass rush helped. Our guys played great up front, the defensive line and linebackers, on putting pressure on the quarterback, stopping the run up front, and not having to commit a ton of people to do it certainly helped. But I think the biggest thing, Hale, was just executing. The one there were two of them in the first quarter, I guess, and one of them was we wanted to be able to commit Jalen Foster, the free safety, to the run, a little bit more. And there was one of them, he was the free safety but was playing the run
aggressively, which is what we wanted him to do, and we knew that we had to do that to stop the run, and there were going to be some throws down the field, and that Florida's got talented players, and there's a chance they were going to hit on a few of them. Just a couple things. I think it was against Platel, but just technique-wise, getting him cleaned up and settled down. And then on the other one, it was we had a pressure called, and we really should have had somebody a little bit deeper in the middle of the field than what he was. So it was a combination of just technique and assignment, and we wanted to be aggressive and stop the run, and we knew that big plays in the passing game were a potential because of that, because of their good players, and they hit on a couple of them, which we knew they would, and then our defensive backs, they settled down, and they played fantastic. I mean, it was awesome to watch them compete.
And Jordan Burch finally got his first sack, and I say finally because it seems like he had been pretty close to several throughout the season. I guess could you just speak to the progression he's made throughout the year?
Yeah, proud of him. Just told him about on the practice field. Congrats on his first sack, and it was really cool because he's played really well for us throughout the year and against the run and against the pass, and he was due and had been playing well and deserved, to have a sack because he certainly put pressure on the quarterback, and it was great to see him do that. And it was awesome to see the reaction of the other edge guys, JJ and Sterling and Jordan Strawn, the way that they reacted to his sack is a great I think JJ was on the field with him, and it was awesome to see just the way the whole group reacted to that and how happy they were for him because he's a great young man and great player, and happy for him to be able to do that.
Shane, we talked to Josh about this, I guess, probably a couple of weeks ago, but talking about trying to get him going again, and obviously he did that last night. Was there something different that he was doing last night that maybe helped? I know you talked about maybe having your defensive GAs scout your receivers and things like that. I mean, was there anything you guys saw that helped Josh get open a little bit more? Was there something he was doing? And I guess just, what did you kind of see from him last night?
Not really. Nothing different. I mean, I think he had a great demeanor about himself, a great confidence, great body language, and the biggest thing is just going up and attacking the football and not waiting on the ball to come down to him. And that was the really cool thing about some of his plays last night is the way that he competed and went up and high pointed the football and attacked the ball in the air. I mean, that was the awesome thing to see with him. But I don't think anything differently. Just like we always do, moving him around and trying to get him open, like a lot of our receivers and tight ends and running backs, and it certainly helps when we're able to protect the quarterback and we're able to allow him to sit in there and be protected, and then to be able to make the throws as well. So it all works together, and it was great to see Josh get going and a lot of our guys, and we've got to continue to advance the passing game. So that's that. But thanks, guys, and see you guys on Tuesday. Take care.